So I guess we'll just dive right into your company, Liquid Limbs. Why did you get started?
Liquid Limbs. Oh my gosh. Alex, really great to be here. I'm really excited to do this podcast with you. Yeah, Liquid Limbs is I guess how we're connecting, but it's really been something more about my whole life, I guess, like how it's kind of come to this moment. And so I'm really excited to talk with you, like what brought me to this and like how we came together too. It's really interesting.
Oh yeah, shout out to Ryan and or Sully Bop, a man of many names, for connecting us. Check out, I believe it is the Sully Bop podcast.
Yeah, I don't know what episode I'm going to be, but like we just filmed a podcast with his buddy Ryan Sullivan. He's a Bopcast, and really looking forward to see that episode. So that was my first podcast ever. That was last week, and then he just was like, I just had you on his podcast too. Just a natural connection was made, and so. I love like how I make those connections sometimes. Just like
Most unexpected of ways.
Yeah, like really sometimes it's just perfect.
Yeah.
So and here we are. So
sometimes the stars truly do align. It's weird to realize how life works like that.
So maybe just for people that don't understand like how we met. So you have a above knee amputation. And I'm creating a product for people with lower limb amputations. So it just seemed like and you're doing podcasts, and I was just on a podcast with the same person, and we have interesting stories. So I think it was just a natural connection for us to get to talk and get to know each other and work on things together. So
yeah, fuck it, man. For those of you who are only audio at the moment, he has his very cool prosthetic contraption for shower usage, or really any waterproof usage that a below-knee amputee would like to use, set up on this table. So I recommend you check out the video version if you'd like to see it.
There you go.
And where can people go to find you if they were curious for purchasing one of these products?
Yeah, right. So right now we are like still in the early stages. That's why I'm so excited to meet new people with lower limb amputations, and we're doing like testing. But we're doing a Kickstarter campaign on November 22nd to raise awareness for this product and for get this product, like more of them in the hands of users, and do more testing so we can create something that really works for everyone. And obviously I'm not an amputee. I'm making this for people who are amputees, but I really want to work with them and make something that they love. That's my most important job with Liquid Limbs at all, is to make a product that our users love. And so that's what I'm really passionate to do. So if you wanted to find me, I'm James Calcagni on like Instagram and LinkedIn and everything, and then Liquid Limbs on social media, Liquid Limbs Family, and liquidlimbs.com is our website. We're still putting together our Kickstarter campaign, but that'll be November 22nd. So there'll be like a web link for our Kickstarter campaign. Also, and I'm sure we can send you everything for the description and everything.
That will be in the link below. Oh, but seriously, man, why did you start this in the first place?
Yeah, so actually this came about. You know, I always like to go back like to the beginning. I grew up in this house since I was 1998. I was born, but like since then I lived here in Bucks County. And so I'm actually on the corner here of we've got a forest right there in the backyard. That's called the 5 Mile Woods. And then also there's a farm on the other side. And so this is a place in Pennsylvania that has a lot of ticks, actually. And
that's always fun, yeah.
yeah, I'm sure like there's maybe some crawling around. It's always like that. And so when I was 8 years old, I was actually got a tick bite and I was diagnosed with Lyme disease.
Damn.
So growing up, I had really serious symptoms from Lyme disease. And that really affected me my entire life since I was a kid, like growing up in this house and everything. Like I was always in pain and in fatigue. And so that really defined my existence pretty much since the time I was 8 years old until I was like 19 years old. When I applied for colleges, I actually applied for biomedical engineering. My plan was to cure Lyme disease. So I thought I was going to like engineer a cure for Lyme disease. And then my sophomore year there, I actually got another tick bite at Penn State. Which, yeah, I don't know if it's just like bad luck or more like the way my body reacts to things. But I've gone to so many doctors, you know, like in that time, just always going to these Western doctors. They'd give me antibiotics for 7 months. And then it wouldn't work, and then I'd go another one, antibiotics for 9 months, and then just always like different doctors, like solutions that didn't work for me. And so that kind of led me um, when I was like, I actually had to drop out of Penn State when I got that tick bite. And so I was taking 40 pills a day at that time, like 7 different antibiotics at the same time, and really heavy duty medications, lithium, Seroquel, these like serious drugs that like really affected me. Even the medical marijuana they had me taking, like just because I was having so much nausea from antibiotics and combination with the Lyme disease. And so this time like really, really low. I finally found someone who's able to help me get better. And so I transferred to Temple University. And so this kind of gets into the story of how I came to find liquid limbs and how I got to where I am now. Because I really did get better. I got so much healthier.
You seem like a pretty fit,
yeah,
healthy,
if you
young
looked at
man.
me 4 years ago compared to where I am now, I was really depressed, like in a ton of fatigue in bed, couldn't do anything, like mobility restricted also. Like there was days I just wouldn't even want to go and get out of bed. Like I was just like,
What exactly does Lyme disease do? Or at least
So-
your version of it.
so Lyme disease really affects like a certain small percentage of people in this kind of chronic way where it causes fatigue, it causes brain fog, joint pain. I had really bad pain. And so a lot of people won't actually have symptoms like that. They'll just go through a regimen of antibiotics and it'll cure the problem. But for like people like me, they didn't diagnose it early enough, and so they actually caused me a ton of problems. Like I had to have surgery for my jaw, actually, because Lyme likes to hide in the jaw. So they actually put like I think it's called a facial prosthesis, actually, like prosthetic device in my jaw, because I had my jaw didn't develop properly because the Lyme likes to hide in places that are warm, and so this actually Lyme like hid in my jaw. Like when I was 8 years old, they could trace it back, and it caused me all these problems. Only like 2 of my teeth would touch my mouth. That's just like one problem, but I had so many different problems. Really, the pain, like I was just always in pain, and I kind of learned to deal with it, and like that was just became my new reality. But it wasn't until years later when I did find that solution. It was actually Qigong. Energy healing is what really helped me, that totally changed my life. So when I transferred to Temple, I actually switched into mechanical engineering. I was getting into like robotics at the time, and so I was doing these exoskeleton devices, which are these robots. They go on your legs and ankles, help you like walk faster.
Is that like you ever play one of the Call of Duties? For Advanced Warfare, I think it was.
It's kind of like Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally, like if you can think like a exo suit, like a Terminator type suit on the body. But we were using them not for like superhero reasons, but just to rehabilitate people with MS. And so that was really impactful for me, that I could use my engineering skills to help people. And so I since I was better, like really had gone through this whole transformation. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to just make engineering devices that can actually really help improve people's mobility and improve their walking. So I love the exoskeletons, and then that just naturally led me to find prosthetic devices. I had my advisor was my senior project advisor, the same guy that was the advisor in my research lab. So I was really lucky to have like really great mentorship from like engineering professors and prosthetists on like I did an internship with a prosthetics company, did these prosthetic finger devices for people with partial digit amputations. I learned that I really love giving people back kind of mobility and functionality. It was kind of the same way I had earned back this energy and this like not having pain anymore. If I could give that gift to other people, that was like the biggest thing for me. So fast forward, my senior design project was for like people with limb loss, just focusing on the problem that most prostheses aren't waterproof. So I think you got a pretty fancy leg there, but I know that a lot of people can't get their legs wet and they have a lot of robotic componentry that'll rust. And so I love like asking more questions, like your experience with this too, but just so you know how I got started. So I learned all these problems. I was like, oh, so like you can't really go swimming. A lot of people can't go swimming with their legs, or can't do just things that every day me wouldn't like consider thinking twice about before I go and do it. And so that was like really eye opening for me. And so I started doing these interviews on Instagram to kind of get an understanding of like what is this problem, because I was going to try to make a solution for it for my engineering design project with a team of students. So so I actually went on Instagram on #amputee and #amputeelife. I realized there's a big community of people that have amputations on social media. People like to share and talk about their problems, and so I actually just started messaging people that I found through that community and really engaging with them. And we had good messages back and forth. And then I do Zoom interviews, kind of like this, just talking to people and just asking them questions like, how do you take a shower? What is your process like now? How do you, like, what do you do when you go swimming? What do you do when you go to the beach? What do you do when you go to the water park? And I actually talked to this 8-year-old boy who told me the story that when he goes to a water park, in order to go down the water slide at the water park, he cannot go down with his prosthetic leg because it's a safety hazard. And I actually had experiences as a lifeguard at a water park called Sesame Place, where I knew that like you can't wear your shoes down the slide because it's a safety hazard. Because if your foot gets caught on the slide, it could really hurt you. And so I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like part of my brain's like, yeah, that does make sense. In the same way that would happen, like a prosthetic leg could really injure you. But at the same time, I'm listening to this 8-year-old kid tell me the story of how he has to crawl up these spiky metal steps in the water park on his hands and knees because he only like has one leg to stand on. He can't go down the slide. And I was just like, you know what? That story really got to me. And I was like, I want to start a company that just does this. We're going to make waterproof prosthetic devices. And I want to make a water park leg. That was my idea. I want to make something you can go down the water slide on. We'll get it approved by like SeaWorld and all the water parks, and it'll be safe. And I'm an engineer. I can figure it out. If regular legs can go down the water slide, then we should be able to make prosthetic legs that can do the same thing. It's just a matter of technology. So that was my goal. I was like, I'm going to start this company called Wet Legs. That was the first idea.
Liquid limbs. I like the choice.
I was just like, legs can get wet, so like prosthetic legs should be able to get wet too. So I went from there, and I kept interviewing people and like asking them questions. And what I had all these ideas: beach legs and pool legs, and all these things I want to do. But the one that really stood out for me, that every single conversation, more or less, the people would give me like feedback that was really difficult for them, was showering and standing in the shower and getting in and out of the shower. People would tell me stories how before they took a shower like 2 or 3 times a day, now they take it once a day. Before they like had no problem getting in the shower, now they need their wife to help them get in and out of the shower, or they need someone to assist them, or like 2 people to assist them, or they need or they've fallen in the shower and they've hurt themselves. A lot of people have fallen in the shower, almost everyone I talk to. And so I realized the shower is a situation that it's a necessity. Everyone needs like this thing. Everyone needs to take a shower, especially people with like limb loss, was something I really learned, that people want to be able to wash their residual limb in the shower because they they wear a silicone liner on that part of the body all day. And so, it gets sweaty, it gets dirty, that you have to wash and take care of that. And so I spoke with a lot of people with above knee and below knee amputations. And I learned that a lot of people with below knee amputations would actually rest their knee on like a shower chair. And that was like a common solution. And so I talked with some more people, and I was doing a lot of research on like what's out there in terms of like crutches and canes and and shower chairs and what are people using. And everyone kind of gave me this feedback that there wasn't a good solution for the shower. And so I developed this design to help people stand in the shower. That was the main goal, and also just for these trips, kind of to and from the bathroom. That was something I realized like a lot of people wanted help with was just going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. They got to go. They don't want to go find their liner, find their prosthetic limb, like pull it all on. For some people, it was really difficult. A lot of people told me they would just hop and crawl just to get to the bathroom, and they've fallen and hurt themselves on that trip. So it was kind of just like an obvious need for me that this is something I should focus on. Like it was like my duty, I felt like, to make this a reality. So I've been working really hard on this device for below knee amputees. I have another design for above knee amputees that I want to get out there in the works too. But it's just kind of obvious, like I need to get one first, and I'll learn a lot from this process and get it through the FDA and get it on the market, get it accessible to people, and then I can do another one having learned those lessons already with this. So I'm really excited. We're doing a Kickstarter campaign I mentioned to like raise awareness just for this problem, because not a lot of people think when they like go in the showers, try standing on one leg, you know? Like I'm not telling anyone to go actually try, but
for legal reasons,
for
you're
legal
not
reasons,
officially.
but I'm just saying, or think about it. Just when you're standing in there, just put your weight. Think about like what would happen if I
And there's
stood
a
on
little
one
bit of
leg.
conditioner, like that really oily stuff on the floor. You know, put all that weight on it.
It's hard. It's even for two legs, like it's hard to stand in the shower.
Yeah, I
me.
hear that's where the majority of accidents happen at home, in the
Yes.
bathroom.
Majority of accidents happen when you're getting in or out of the shower, and that's something the shower chair doesn't help with. So that's like, I was just like, wow, this is a really clear need. And I want to do all that other stuff I talked about. Like the water park leg is still like, I won't feel successful until I've made the water park leg. Trust me. And I have all of these different ideas. Like since this, I'm really like an ideas guy. And I've come up with all these solutions, and I'm right now just working. So the biggest difference is we need people to test this. So that's what I've been getting contacts with veterans organizations, groups with people with limb loss to work with them, so we can make sure that like people really actually love this product, because that's the most important thing for me, is that people want it. And I think we actually have a really basic version with this that I think will help people, a lot of people. And it's for me, I'm not an amputee, but when I walk around and use the device, I feel like if I was an amputee, I would get benefits from this. Just having this is like an extra tool in your tool set. So I am really pushing forward on it.
Have you used it in the shower?
I've used it a lot in the shower, and so some of the changes I was just talking with someone about actually come just from my testing. Like the foot, for example, it has this kind of unique shape you can see. It's because it allows for water drainage. So a lot of prosthetic feet will like fill up with water if you like get them in the water. So we didn't want that problem. Like when you step out of the shower, you shouldn't have to dump your leg upside down. So we have like this interesting shape. It doesn't look like a normal foot, but we're more going for like functionality and what works best for people. So yeah, so I've been really excited. I've taken a bunch of showers with it myself, but again, I'm not an amputee, and I really want that feedback from people who are amputees before I can like really go forward with it and get it out there, because I've gotten a lot of feedback that people really want this. But I'd love to flip it on you a little bit and ask about your shower situation, like what your experience is like, because you do take a shower every day. And I know it's...
Why would you assume that? No, I'm kidding.
Everyone, well, I'm just saying with an amputation, everyone like has to take a shower, right? So it's like, just what are your thoughts on this and waterproof prosthetics in general, and like some of the other things that I've talked on, and just give me your lived experience. Yeah.
With showers, so I used to use one of those shower chairs. For whatever reason, I don't remember specifically, I just stopped using it. I ended up, usually I'll just sit on the bottom of the shower now, literally just sit
On the floor.
Yeah, and that's worked pretty well for me. Or I'll just stand on my one leg, and so far balance hasn't been much of a problem. I haven't felt it slip out. I am
some close calls though.
But I'll notice that I'm quite conscious of the grip I have on my foot when I'm in the shower. Like, here's the strange thing I noticed. I'll do rock climbing every now and then, and when I'm on the rock, I notice that understanding your foot grip is almost, if not as important as understanding your hand grip, right? And if I grab something, I can feel very well the sense of whether or not it's going to slip out from under me or whether there's traction, things along those lines. But with my feet, it would be almost like I'm not really paying any attention to that, and more often than not, too often, my feet would slip out from under me if I was climbing. So I noticed I had to put a lot of focus on the feeling of whether or not I have grip and where my placement is, my proprioception, and the grip I have for my feet. And that I've noticed that translate a bit onto in being in the shower. So when I place my foot in the shower, I can have a very a decent enough understanding of whether or not I have traction or not, so that I don't slip. And if I'm moving around, I'm very slow and stable with it. But I'm also, and I'm just saying this, what I've noticed to be more matter of fact. You may not see it because I'm in a very fluffy jacket at the moment, but I'm more fit than the average person. So I find that doing these tasks is probably easier than like the 40-year-old person who has diabetes.
Yeah, I've noticed actually in my interviews, like it depends, because this whole thing is a spectrum, right? Like people missing different amounts of their limbs, like people have both legs missing, people are different ages. So a lot of the younger, maybe more fit men, like you actually had a friend who's on the Paralympics team, and on the U.S. basketball team, and like some of these people are really fit, and they like you are able to just like hop around on one leg and get around and kind of do their thing. But a lot of them did say like when they get older, they do think they might be more in need in terms of the shower.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
that whole
and
hopping around
that
on
was
the leg.
definitely reflective of like the conversations that I had with people that are older. They're like really desperate for something. People just want to stand up again in the shower, and just get around, Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's interesting how much of entrepreneurship is finding those very everyday things that we have that maybe is an everyday annoyance or inconvenience, and just finding a solution to that in a way. Because I'm sure for many years, people without limbs have gotten, you just got to scoot or be more slow, things along those lines. But I can definitely see this sort of thing taking off. Do you go to different prosthetic locations and talk to prosthetists to ask for like their clients, if I can get their information, things along those lines?
Yeah, I'm just starting to do more like outreach like that. Like we've been it's been a lot. We started working with a prosthetics group. Like originally we were working with a group called MedEast. They have like several locations. They were sponsoring our project. So we've been really excited to work with like a lot of different groups. And right now working with the Salute to Service military veterans organization.
Cool.
There's a lot of military veterans also that have like lower limb amputations. I've noticed people of all different like walks of life I've been able to meet with. Actually, most people I meet with is through social media. I've been really like grateful to have a lot of connections through Facebook groups and Instagram. People have like reached out to me. I'll just say like, look, I'm trying to make this thing, and people just see. I think they see it. It's very visual. Like see people walk around on it, and it just makes sense. Like, so I think that is something that I've had going for it too, and definitely always looking for more connections. So if you have some prosthetists listening in on this call or some other amputees that are interested, that's kind of really how I've been making a lot of connections.
Yeah, actually,
more than me just like knocking on the door. Like people coming to me has been the greatest through LinkedIn, through different like social networks, and just networking like that. Yeah. But I definitely looking at any possibilities. We always like looking for more people to connect with, and like you said, like I think it's that's why I focus on the shower, like finding the problems that people really need solved, like first, and
then building out from there to the more luxurious ones, like going to an amusement park, right?
Right.
But first, getting the necessities down. That's fucking that's very important.
Yeah.
I could definitely see an older person, because you'll see those shower doors, or the shower doors for older folks who have both limbs.
Yeah.
That just going over that little wall on the shower can be quite dangerous as you start to get on an age.
That's like how do you transport yourself from the bed to the bathroom?
Like if I have to piss in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Or, sorry for the vulgarity.
No,
But typically I'll do either hop on one foot, or I'll do like the three
Hop
limb
on
like
one
a
foot.
chimp-esque sort of walking.
On the walker.
No.
Oh.
No, I haven't used I have my crutches, but I call them the polio crutches, the
Okay.
forearm crutches.
Okay.
I haven't used them in a while though. Typically I'll do like if you just see how a gorilla or a chimp walks, that's how I'll move on my
Like
on
crawl.
the three limbs.
Crawling.
Mhm. Or I'll
Right.
scoot on my butt if I'm really tired. Or to be quite honest, sometimes I'll just have a bottle next to my bed where it's like, this is easier.
Right.
I'm just peeing in a bottle.
Right.
That's to be, yes, completely vulnerable for
No,
women.
no, that's but a lot of people won't even make it to the bathroom, like because they have to go through all those extra steps, and like for you, like hopping might be or like crawling might be easier, but some people it's not the case. So that's been like who I've been really focused on, helping the most.
Oh, here's a really cool.
Yeah.
I was talking to another student who is working on prostheses, and if that's the plural for that, anyway. And she was asking me what sort of things would I really purchase or would I really love to have in the prosthetic world.
Right.
And this isn't really connected to the liquid limbs, but just to give you maybe a little brainstorm idea, being able to very quickly put on the prosthetic would be, and to not only have it put on quickly, but to have it all the way down in the socket at a moment's notice. Because a lot of times if you wake up in the middle of the night, maybe the leg's a little swollen or something along those lines, and it takes a little while for it to fully slide down the prosthetic. But to be able to just put it on in 2 seconds,
that's kind of what I'm going for with this too. Is like it's a grab and go type of deal, right? Like you don't have to put on your full prosthetic device and like make sure you're clicked in, right?
that is a huge plus.
It's really just like you grab it. It's like a cane, specialty cane to help you get to the bathroom. And like one of the big things. So, you can see there's all these different parts. All these 4 parts come apart, and so you can compact it into like a small backpack. Something you can take with you if you go on a trip, because that was something I learned from a lot of people is when they travel. I know you do a lot of traveling. When you go to like a hotel or an Airbnb, you like don't know the shower situation there, and so like people wouldn't want to sit on the ground, maybe per se at the hotel.
Yeah. Oh, for those I'll have to. Well, not I have to, but for cleanliness purposes, I'll have like a bathing suit and I'll lie that on the floor, and then I'll sit on the bathing suit if I'm at a hotel or motel.
Yeah,
shower,
people
something along
like
those
that
lines.
really they don't want to do that.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough.
So this is like something you could take with you. You don't that way you don't have to take the walker, you don't have to take the shower chair. You could just take this product, and it kind of replaces all of that traveling gear that you need.
Do you ever have to worry about mold or anything like that? Because a lot of this equipment seems like it wouldn't.
So all
have
this,
mold built on it.
yeah, no, there's all it's going to be like plastic, injection molded, and this is a PVC pipe, and then we just have these corrosion resistant stainless steel cotter pins. So there's no like real places for mold to get into, or it's designed like ergonomically for the shower and for cleanliness.
Oh, big question. How much would something like this cost?
Yeah, so that is a big question. And so like right now we're really trying to get the price as low as possible. I want this to be affordable for everyone. I'm looking at right now, like I'm also just thinking in terms of the business, and like we want this device to kind of help us launch the above the knee version, like I told you, in our next devices. So we do need to like have it be able to make some profit, just so we
need
can,
money. Yeah,
we need money so
like
we can
fair.
so we can do the next one. Like
Yeah.
like that's kind of the whole purpose of this. But at the same time, we want it to be affordable. What I'm asking right now is for donations of like $300. And that would give you the ability to give like 1 unit to, say, a military veteran, or give 1 unit to someone who needs the device and can't afford it. And we're not really selling it yet. Still, we're still like in a prototype phase. We're just asking. We're doing this awareness campaign with Kickstarter. Like we're gonna sell some T-shirts and stuff, and like building.
And your
this
logo's
brand.
cool too, so that's good.
The logo, yeah, I'd love to talk about the logo. Has kind of the product. Like just our flagship product to show like the innovation that we're coming up with, but it's combined with the symbol of a trident. So the trident is a symbol of empowerment, and I want people to really feel empowered with these devices. I don't want them to feel like they're using like a crutch or a cane. I want this to be something that you grab and you feel like a god, and you really, you feel like I am in control of my like mobility and I'm empowered to do what I want to do.
Liquid limb is a good name for that.
Yeah,
it
liquid
feels
limbs.
powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. So the transition of the name from wet legs to liquid limbs was actually recommended by amputees, and definitely I think wet legs did sound kind of gross.
But it's a start, right? I could see hilariously.
You saw like what I was coming from, but liquid limbs I think it really embodies what we're all about, and so the other thing is an octopus limb that kind of goes around this trident. It's similar to like the snake wrapping around that rod that you see as like
the medical symbol.
The medical symbol, which like we are providing medical benefits, but we are also very different from like traditional healthcare. That's something I think for me has been always the case where I've found success, and this is something that's very unique. And so the octopus is kind of all about agility and versatility and overcoming obstacles. And so you see that like octopus grabbing the trident. I feel really powerful about like this brand, this company. So we're hoping to have some like different shirt options for people. So maybe there'll be one where it's holding like an American flag. We were really trying to help the military veterans, people that served our country with this, and then also just some of the other groups and like different iterations on the logo and our brand. So kind of building that awareness out of like what we're trying to do, because it's not just standing in the shower. It's about a lot more than that. For me, it's like helping people live more mobile lives and more accessible lives, and increasing their independence, their confidence. That's empowering them to do that. So that's what I'm really passionate to do this. And so that's like the campaign is like this Kickstarter. That's what I've been really pushing. So I was really happy to hear when we had a traveling amputee podcaster wanted to come.
It's like fucking perfect.
Come to my house and talk about it. I'm like, okay, well, of course, Alex. Like, no, but it was just really cool to meet you and hear your story too. And I was listening. I actually watched your podcast with Ryan, so I had some more background to go off.
Oh, cool.
But really was really excited about this. And
oh, dude, that was a fun episode.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm really just like glad to meet you, man. This is really really cool. Like that we're doing this, I want to know more like your thoughts on where we could go with this, and like what you see as like liquid limbs and the potential for something like this, and you had mentioned like in your scenario like things like you'd be interested in, you know.
I guess the ideal would be having a limb that you don't have to change. You can seamlessly go from the ocean back to the beach, moving around. You could go on a long hike, and if you see a river or a lake on the hike, you can go swimming in the lake and right back out to the hike without having to worry about any transition or anything along. Like a leg that the ideal. It's just an all-terrain leg.
That's my honestly, that's my vision too. Is this is just solving the shower problem, because I've been like nobody solved the shower problem. Like, let's solve the shower. You know, like everyone has to take a shower, and there's already like a lot of legs that solve a lot of different problems. But I can solve the shower. You know, and then I want to do so many different products and like an all-terrain type leg. I think that would be a great product for us to make. Something that you can just go walk on the beach with, and then you don't have to bring multiple legs with you when you travel. Things like convenience are really important. So just saving people time has been like kind of a big one for me. Like this, I feel like can save a lot of time for you if it makes your shower process like easier and just like
and safer,
especially when you're traveling, you know. So getting people back that time is something I'm really pushing for. So, and like an all-terrain leg, not having to change your leg or know what the deal is with your leg, like this I think could be a really great thing.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Oh, and to think, there's a guy called Laird Hamilton. He's a big wave surfer, and he's big on doing pool workouts. He has this crazy setup in his pool, and in short, he'll go in with weights and do this wide variety of workouts with the weights in the pool. So being able to do something along those lines, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, man. That's so cool.
Yes. So the more athletic side, because this is, that makes me wonder, like, talking about statistics for a second, I wonder what the highest percentage of people with amputees, why they have it. Is it military? Is it diabetes? Like, are most people who have prosthetics generally fit? is it due to
You're talking to the right guy because I know these statistics like the back of my head.
Oh, cool, perfect.
Because I try to figure out like how do we like give this to the most people possible. And there's millions of amputees in the world. But so like if you look in the United States, 51% are diabetes. Actually,
Wow.
diabetes is by far the largest contributor to the amputations. The diabetes epidemic is a growing problem. So right now there's 2.1 million. I think it'll be like, I'm gonna mess up the statistic, but it's like if you look it up by 2050, it'll have like doubled in size, like 3.5 billion, a number like that. And so it's just growing with the diabetes epidemic. It's also like amputation epidemic.
And those people I've seen have typically been older and not very fit. So I think it's
Right.
perfect that you're having this market to them
There's a lot
first.
of different like scenarios though. There's congenital, there's cancer, there's cancer's like a smaller percent, and then trauma is a big percentage. So there's road vehicle incidents, military, like all these different scenarios.
Construction site as a teenager, yeah.
Yeah, that was your story is construction. How long ago was that?
About 8 years now, 7, 8 years,
7,
something like
8
that.
years. So how was that transition like going from how old were you and like what was it like to become an amputee? Like how hard was that?
I was 16, and becoming an amputee, calling it easy would be the incorrect way to describe it.
Really hard. Yeah.
But for me, I feel it's necessary to point out that it wasn't the learning to walk and all that jazz that was the most difficult part for me. Strangely enough, the pain seemed to come a lot more from finding purpose again. That I had this like very clear vision for what I was going to do with my life. And then when I fucked my leg up, it was just gone within a split second. So rediscovering that, it's been more of a...
What was your vision before?
Going to the military. And you can't join, as I found out, with a pre-military amputation.
Right.
So it became more of a psychological journey for joy rather than a joy for mobility when I lost my... when I fucked my leg up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been largely... I've been more and more disciplined at finding, I'll call it, the blueprints for well-being. That's been something I've been hunting a lot over the last few years. Just, is there a clear pathway? Is it a skill that one can find almost to live a good life? And what are the blueprints, the keys for this? So even though I lost this thing that I thought was the biggest key for living that good life, well, if that gets wiped out, and then obviously my eyes are open to the fact that even if I find something in the future that is as glorious as that vision I had beforehand, that could be wiped out. So is there a blueprint for getting wiped out and recovering, still coming back to a point of prosperity? So that's been more of my mission, and mission I'll call it. It's a dramatic way of saying it, but sure.
No,
mission.
dude, I think it's great to have a mission, and that's been my whole life actually, is searching for well-being. So I think I really relate to your mission. For me, it was like my battle with Lyme disease, and overcoming that was basically, I was like, what do I do next?
What sort of medical techniques were used in this Eastern style of medicine?
Yeah, so I'm so lucky. I found this guy, Master Fa Ho. He's a 5th generation Chinese practitioner from China. So his father's father passed this technology down to him in China. It's similar roots to like acupuncture, but no needles. It was just his hands. Hands on, hands off, energy movement. So he just physically manipulating the energy.
But
blockages.
not like massage, or was it?
I wouldn't compare it to massage, just because I think the connotation's like not. It's not just like massaging the muscles, and this is more focused on like internal energy. So like your organs, the kidneys, lungs, liver, gallbladder, heart have like blockages. So there's like a 5-element system, and then circulating that energy, helping like all my organs were basically shut down. I was taking all these antibiotics all the time. My immune system was really low. So actually that was like, he kickstarted my immune system to defend myself. And I actually was able to get off all 40 pills, like all my medications, like really changed my whole ability in terms of like life and like having like no more meds and also not having pain anymore. It's like once the physical pain went away, all the mental problems also went away. So I was having like really serious bipolar type condition. And so once my physical symptoms went away, all the mental stuff also cleared up. And so for me, that was like a big wellness like finding for me. Actually, like really focused on that for a while. I just was like, I want to learn this. This makes a lot of sense. It helped me. Let me keep like practicing this Qigong. And so I actually
Oh, so
did,
you practice it yourself
yeah,
now?
yeah,
like,
I
on
did an
yourself?
apprenticeship.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was another thing that helped me. Like it was the hands-on treatments, but also he taught the self-healing form of Qigong, which is like kind of like yoga, but more focused on the energy and like meditation. So I was doing that at the same time. And so I dropped out of Penn State. I was just doing like Qigong exercises for hours every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And like I
What
found it
would be an
really helped me.
example of like a Qigong exercise?
You want to do it right now?
Sure.
We could do it. I think even the people on the podcast could listen and do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm trying to think what we could do. I know it's kind of spontaneous, but we have a lot of different breathing exercises. We have a lot of different like energy movement exercises, and I think the easiest one, like the first one we could talk about, is the Qi ball. It's just like helps you to feel the Qi and understand what the Qi is. Like Qi is basically just energy. It's a Chinese word for energy, and so like you can think of like a life energy. Qigong, which is the practice, is working with that energy. So Qi is energy, and Gong is like cultivation or work. So when you're doing Qigong, you're working with energy, like cultivating your energy. So,
Oh, this is something I have to ask just out of a personal curiosity.
of course.
Do you think there's any chance that the impact you had was due to some sort of placebo-esque, I am convinced that this is working so that parts of different parts of my faculties that were turned off previously are now turned on due to a system of belief? Or do you think it's
No, I don't think I can attribute it to placebo or belief, just because I had for 12 years like pain, and like all these different experiences, like 12 years, and then I like found this Qigong. It was a combination of the treatment and the self-healing work. Like it wasn't like a magic bullet. It wasn't like it started and then the next day I was better. It took like 12 weeks. Like pain slowly went away over time, and it wasn't like magic. Like it was just like treatment, healing energy. So
man, that makes me wonder how
yeah.
much of the ancient medicines and healing techniques know something and are incredibly helpful in ways that modern science can't yet measure, hasn't studied yet, doesn't understand.
Well, dude, I really think this is like no brainer for me. Like this stuff, it just works, and it's not like based on like voodoo or anything. It's really based on like what is best for the human body, like based on medical benefits. So it's like medical Qigong, it's called. They actually use this in like hospitals, like in China. Nurses will use this like on the patients. Like it's like very standardized over there, I guess, as opposed to here where it's not like integrated. So I think that's the big problem, is there's a break between the Western and Eastern medicine is non-integration.
There's this weird almost blockage I have in my head. I wonder if it's pre-programmed in a way due to my being raised in a Western culture.
Here,
that as soon as I hear a term like gong in a medicine practice, I have this whole connotation surrounding it of like, that's just woo-woo Mr. Miyagi rubbing his
like
hands.
you don't
stuff.
even give it a chance because you don't understand it. Or like, and like that's the thing, especially with this kind of thing, is every form of Qigong, right, is different because like they're coming from these different practices in China. And so like to compare like a massage thing, like, you know, you go to like any massage, Asian massage, to like Qigong, this practice that Master Ho does, like from 5 generations. Like Master Ho's 30 years, when he was 30 years old, came to the United States, and he's treated lots of like really famous people and like wealthy people.
Cool.
Like you would know, like if I gave the list, like these names are like Hollywood actors and billionaires and like CEOs of like companies, you know, so like he's like had a lot of success because it works. Like it really works really
Cool.
well. I've seen him treat all these different cases, like not just my case. It just works across the board. And so I think like integrating that more, like if we had some classes in like meditation and Qigong and like yoga in school, that would be the way to go. Like as like a like American society in terms of promoting well-being, like I think this is a really great practice for well-being. So I became a really big advocate of Qigong, and like that, I was like, I want to study this and really become a like healer. Like I actually have learned the practice myself, how I can use it to heal other people, and I've seen success with my treatments even. It's been really powerful, like for me to see, oh, I can actually help other people too with this. And then, so the one thing my Master Ho had told me, if you really want to study this and like do this as a career, then you need to go back to school and like get your undergraduate degree, get your acupuncture license, like be able to practice fully in America.
Is this purely a medicinal practice? Because as you describe it, Qigong, and does Gong just mean to work or to maneuver or to influence the flow of?
Yeah, there's like really tough to translate a lot of Chinese stuff to English properly, but like the best explanation for Gong that I would say is like to work or cultivate.
Interesting.
Qigong is like it's like a holistic, like wholesome practice. It encompasses like a lot of different things.
Because the way you're talking about it is, I'm wondering how many other uses outside of medicinal can this be applied to? Can it have a sort of martial arts application?
Right.
Maybe just a general fitness, psychological
so
application?
A lot of Qigong, we actually hear about martial Qigong, but Master Ho's form is specifically focused on the medical benefits. So like that's Master Ho's Qigong is really just all medical benefits. Like he doesn't teach any martial arts or applications. That would be like martial applications, but this energy is like your internal energy. So it's really strengthening your chi and your internal well-being. And so
Man, what?
Yeah.
Like, can we measure chi yet?
Oh yeah,
These
they
forces that
have
he's
a lot
talking
of
about?
research in China. Like some of these masters would do these exercises like with water and stuff, and like they'd measure the frequencies and everything. It's like a lot of research in India. They do a lot of these studies too.
Oh, dude, I've been very much remapping my understanding of what yoga is lately. I've been listening to a guy called Sadhguru, and he's been describing
Familiar
that
with him.
fantastic. I've been a little bit, I admit, of a fanboy of his as of late. But as he describes, it's become almost a to use a harsh word, a bastardized version in America. It's almost become an aerobic exercise.
In this house, I had this guy here, Swami G. He's a yogi.
That sounds familiar.
He's a yoga like Swami, like master from India, and his form is all focused on this Vasi breathing. That he teaches this really intense breathing. Even Master Ho has like 14 different styles of breathing with this Qigong form. There's a lot more that like goes into it than you see in like Americanized yoga, than like than that we are like traditionally taught. Like I never knew about Qigong growing up. It wasn't like ever explained to me as a solution. I only found it through trial and error, like with everyone. I was looking for someone to help with my energy. I was like, who could help with my energy? Looking up like energy help, because I was such more fatigue, like really low energy. And so I never expected my pain to also go away, and kind of like all the other benefits that I've had. Even my mental clarity, like that was not something I would expect to get fixed. All of a sudden, I had this brain fog since I was a kid. Like now all of a sudden I went back to temple, I got straight A's for the first time in my life.
What would you describe as the fog? Like what? Your memory, you'll forget things easier, processing
like your
things.
brain is like almost like cloudy, like you're like kind of like underwater, like talking. And it's not like super easy to describe because you're still like a functioning person, but it's just like a fog, almost like cloudy. That is a good way to brain fog. Like and when it's not there, you can really see. Like me now, I'm so clear. And have that energy, and like I can tell the difference.
Would you describe as like the difference between having glasses on and off if you had poor eyesight?
Yeah, I have always had great eyesight, but I would say it's probably somewhat similar, but like your brain and your mental processing, like Everything's like a little bit slower, maybe not as like energized. I think there's so many different problems that come from it, so it's like really hard to isolate.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I see so many like benefits from Qigong for me, and that's really what motivated me to go and become like a engineer that could help other people. It's like I found this technology. It was for me like a technology from China that really worked for me. And so I definitely want to continue working with Qigong. So and like getting it out there, but I've kind of found that I can also design products like with my mechanical engineering background that also can help benefit people. So that's what I'm really committed to. And I see this is also like a wellness, helping people have better wellness in their life. If it's like even if it's like 5 minutes makes your bathroom time easier, that can be like wellness or like your mobility, like your confidence, you know, like I said, like empowering you to kind of live your life in those moments that maybe otherwise would seem more like degrading, maybe not degrading, but
Feeling
hurtful.
handicapped.
Yeah, for lack of better like speaking, like at least you can say it.
You're good. You could say it too,
No,
but I
like,
understand the
like non-disabled. I really know
Mhm.
what it's like to feel like without that power and all the things that I couldn't do, you know, because of Lyme disease. I think that's what initially started me on this track. When I heard that kid talking about not being able to go down the water slide, like I realized like all the things that I wasn't able to do when I was a kid because of my disability. And so that's just I don't want other people to have the same thing. So I found the solution for this, and that's what I'm really pushing it. And I'm like the guy to do it. I really believe like this just like kind of came in my lap right now. It has to happen. It should have happened a long time ago. I want to just make it available for people that want it. And then like the Qigong has been around for 5,000 years, and I'm just like someone that found it here in America, that's like well known about in China, and I just happened to find Master Ho's like the best one to do it.
Dude, it's fucking wild.
Got
that
really
it took
lucky
all
with
those
that,
years.
but that's the karma, you know. I feel like it takes like something gets taken away from you, takes some time, but like got to put the solution back in your place. I found that to be true for myself. I don't know. It worked for me, and now I have the opportunity to give it to other people to kind of restore those feelings. So
12 years. That's just so crazy that there was something that within the course of, like you said, 12 weeks made such a life-changing impact, and yet it took, what you say, like 12 years? 12 years
of pain
to find it. But it was there the whole time, just floating around the ether of information, and somehow you're looking here,
like
there,
he's been here
there.
since 1992, right? It was just like the ability for me to walk in his front door that I had to like find the solution, and like because where do you go? You know, that's I think the scariest thing for my parents, like raising me as a kid. Like, well, he's sick. Like, how do we help him? You know, like, what do you bring this kid? Everything hurts. Like, his whole body hurts. Like, what are you gonna do to fix that? You know?
Did you find him, or did your parents find him?
My dad found him finally. My dad always finds like the best doctors. We went to NYU doctors, Penn Medicine. Like, I went to CHOP. I went to all these hospitals and doctors.
That's
like,
a hell of a name for a hospital. CHOP.
It's the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
Oh my God, they need to rename that. But yeah, no, okay.
The Garabedian Clinic, all these places, like they're supposed to be experts for Lyme disease, and they like would look at me and like either they wouldn't want to do anything, like they didn't know how to treat my case, or they would just give me antibiotics. Was like usually the answer.
Dude, were you just on antibiotics for years, essentially?
Yeah, literally since I was like born, like I've been on antibiotics like all my life, which really wrecked my stomach and everything too. So it's like compounding issues. Like I think antibiotics is not a long-term answer to anything. Antibiotics is not a long-term answer to anything. Like honestly, it's not like a chronic solution. You can't just give somebody
That's
antibiotics
what I was thinking when you
for
said
like
it.
12 years. Like it's
Wow.
not gonna, like, if it didn't work the first 12 years, like it's not gonna work, you know? Like I think there's gotta be, but like that's the only treatment they have.
Yeah.
So like that's like what they give you. And so like I was literally taking 7 different antibiotics at the same time when I was 19 years old. Like every day you throw up. Like antibiotics make you nauseous.
It was
you
just
know?
the norm. And the guy just vomit off.
Yeah. So like
Damn.
But so if you asked me 4 years ago, like I would not be thinking I'd be sitting here with this
4 years.
thing that I designed, like
Mhm.
and getting on the market. It's like actually like a product that's going to help millions of people to stand in the shower. That's what I
Fuck yeah.
really like. There's at least like 2.1 million amputees in America. Like half of those are lower limb, and then it's about a million below knee amputees. So if half of them want this, then that's great. Like, let's do it. Let me get it out for you. That's what I'm trying to do. Help especially people that struggle like every day to stand in the shower and they slipped and fallen. I know that like you had talked about that gap, like that little, just to get into the bathroom sometimes can be a really big pain for people. Like they trip over. So
You're
just-
half asleep, days hopping
Yeah.
on one leg.
Yeah,
like
it's
it can have
difficult,
some
right?
problems.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older, I imagine. But
yeah.
what the fuck was I gonna? Oh, dude, here's an interesting little tidbit when it comes to the entrepreneurial realm. I was listening to this guy, wonderful guy. I highly recommend if you're interested in entrepreneurship. Naval Ravikant. And he's describing that with many entrepreneurial ventures, it often starts as first, okay, you find this need people don't know how to satisfy. Then, typically speaking, you will satisfy it for the upper ends of society in terms of income, right?
Right.
And that'll be the first models, as it's very difficult to make mass produce. But then the next step after that is to be able to mass produce it. And if you can mass produce this thing that people need at a affordable cost for all different walks of life, and he's like, you can do that,
Dude, that's what I'm trying to do. Like literally in Nigeria, 9% of amputees and lower limb amputees have access to prosthetic devices. 9%. So that means like 81% don't have a prosthetic leg just to get around. So I'm like, something like this, at least you can have some more mobility.
Yeah.
Like get around, do what you need to do the laundry, do the dishes, like get around the house, go to the bathroom, go take a shower, like stuff like that. And like yeah, if we can make this for like really inexpensive and get it over to them, let's do that. Like if we can make 1 million of them with people here in America first, and then we can make another 50 million of them and get them everywhere in the world we need them to do. There's definitely the demand. I feel like people want this. It's a really underserved market. So that's what I'm dedicated to do. I really want to make this available for everyone that wants it.
Is this one of those like the majority of my days I'm thinking about this sort of thing for you?
This is like there's not a day that goes by that I don't spend thinking about this. Like there's not an hour probably honestly that I don't think about that 5-minute window. There's not an hour in a day where I don't think about that 5-minute window for where people make that trip from the bedroom to the bathroom or like standing in the shower, that 20 minutes. Like I'm thinking about that problem. That's my job. Like all I do is think about that problem. How can I make this problem solved? And this is like a really big solution for a large segment of people, but that shower, that time affects a lot more people than just below knee amputees. And so like this product can also be used by people with leg injuries during their recovery. There's different like markets for this too, but I've been really focused on the amputee population just because that's kind of the one that spoke to me, and I was really able to empathize with their problem. And so I designed this to solve that problem. And so there's other problems that if I find a problem, I'll make a solution that works. And so that's why like making this compactable so you can take it all apart, take it with you to a hotel. That was something I knew was important. We made it like that. People need to be able to wash the residual limb in the shower. We made it so it's open so they can wash their limb.
It looks super portable
side.
too. Like for those who can't see, this is what maybe at the current extension 2 feet in height, and it looks like it can be shrunk a good bit.
Oh yeah, you can fit it into a small small backpack or small the string bags. It fits really well, and you can compact it so like all these parts get into like a small like 1 foot like space. And it's really lightweight. It's like less than 5 pounds, which is lighter than most people's prosthetic limbs. And has a handle on the side for that extra support, extra stability.
Were you always like this in the way that you always had something you were spending most of your time focusing on, even when even when you had Lyme disease for that huge chunk, the majority perhaps of your life? Did you still have the kind of I don't know, you'd like to fill your days focusing on this, and this is my
I
mission,
don't
my
think so,
purpose?
because I think I loved always coming up with different ideas. And I'm always like having all these different visions and like ideas. How can I make this like I want to make water parks too, you know, like not just the water park legs, but I want to make slides that are more accessible. And like, okay, but like I think now I'm getting into like reality where I'm like, okay, like let's hold off on all the big
The
ideas.
dreamer
Like
struggle, eh?
let's hold off on making Disneyland, you know, until we've made first this thing that just solves one problem, like getting it on the market. And I've realized like I can come up with the best engineering design in the world. Like this could be the best prosthetic limb that's gonna work like an octopus leg and like let you climb walls and like fly. But if nobody knows about it, then what's the point? You know?
Yeah.
So like if I don't come and do like podcasts like this, talk about it, or if I don't go on social media and kind of get this out there, like if this is my one thing and I need this to work in order to like do next A, like B, C, D, F, G, you know, like the whole alphabet, whatever I need to do. If I don't do this first, then that's not even possible. So I've kind of like been like, okay, let's laser focus on this. But I've always had that engineering mindset at the same time. Like, how can I improve it? How can I improve it?
Mhm.
I've kind of learned you can't have like iPhone 13 unless you had 1, 2, 3, 4. So I do feel like this is kind of like a version 1, whereas I'm really wanting to perfect it more and more and more.
Mhm.
But I'm at the point where I can't improve it anymore on my own. I need people's feedback to kind of get it there. And
Yeah.
so definitely I always was like a laser focused builder, but like very widespread, like what I wanted to build. So I loved Legos growing up, like
Mhm.
as a kid, really into Legos. I made this Lego robot that solved like a Rubik's Cube. So definitely I would like find like passion projects, like do the thing, but then I'd move on to something else.
How the hell do you get a Lego robot to solve a Rubik's Cube?
That's a good one. But that was like my fun. That's how I got into robotics initially. I was like, I like this, and I joined a robotics club at Temple. We made these robotic like space robots that like picked up gravel and stuff, and I was like, okay, that's cool. How do I make the arm like pick things up? And then we made these, and then I joined this lab. Make the exoskeletons help people walk.
Dude, did those
That's just, like, what I
exoskeletons
cared
connect
about.
to people's nervous systems?
No. So they're more mechanical. So it's not like wired in your brain or anything like that. It's more mechanical. When have people walk on a treadmill, and like study the gait forces and everything like that, on the treadmill, and actually, they have like a Bowden cable system. So when you walk, it'll actually actuate your legs, so it feels like you're walking, like floating, kind of like walking on air, a little bit, not
And it'll
like
do that all you
crazy,
said with
but
cables? Like I imagine.
so we had a couple different systems we were testing, and the one was like a cable system like that, and then there's all different methods for this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Could that be used not just for people who have a disability of some sort, but also for, I don't know, construction worker who wants to
Yeah,
carry
like
something
there's
much
definitely
heavier?
like military applications, construction applications, space, even like medical. I'm sure there's lots of different applications for these exoskeletons. Really cool stuff. I think in the future I'd love to make the waterproof exoskeletons with liquid limbs too. That'd be cool
Cool.
stuff to do.
Mhm.
But I'm focused more right now just on the mobility aids and the prosthetic devices.
I think
Um,
we're similar
yeah.
in the way that I've also had very much the personality where I like creating ideas. I love brainstorming and having a million different exciting ideas pop in my head. But I found that the struggle for me comes more to laser focusing on one of those and finding one of those ideas that it's worth laser focusing
Yeah.
on and actually acting on it, creating on it,
When you
making it
find
work.
it, you'll know it. And I've just gotten so like I've been just dedicated to this, where I think a lot of people would give up on it at some point. I've already had those hard times, you know, but I'm keeping pushing through just because I think once you build momentum with something, that momentum is worth a lot. And so I've had momentum with this, and we've won like first place with this in my senior design competition, like first place at Temple. Then there's a business competition, Changemaker Challenge, like first place award. We got top prize awards in this Be Your Own Boss Bowl. It was a $10,000 prize, and then another $10,000 prize with my business partner in this Lori Hermelin Bush fundraiser. And so we've just continued like getting successes with this. So there's like, why would you stop? You know? So it's kind of just like there's been a lot of signs that this is what I should be doing, and I just want to help as many people as possible with it. And so that's, I think like no other company that I know of in the U.S. created or is creating 30 units of like a shower prosthetic device this year, like specifically to help people with amputations stand in the shower.
You know what's
like,
weird?
Nobody's
the leg
doing
I
that.
have,
You know,
I was told that it is a water-resistant leg.
yeah.
But strangely enough, I still don't feel comfortable taking it in the shower. I
It's
feel like the foot would
right?
fill with. Yeah, well, yeah, the knee's definitely expensive. I do not want to risk
Yeah.
fucking it up. On top of that, like you said earlier, the foot could fill with water. The socket, there's metal on it that could rust. So
And
even though the
you have to wash your leg, right? Like the
yeah,
residual
yeah,
limb.
yeah, that's a huge
Like
fucking
you can't
point.
wash your leg in the prosthetic socket. So like it wouldn't make, like people do have shower legs that it's like an old prosthetic that they use just for taking a shower. But then they have to still wash their leg afterwards. So that's like something with this, you don't have to have those like extra steps involved. It's specifically designed for showering. It's not like you're gonna go cut your grass with it, but like you're gonna get around the house. Maybe you have to go grab something from the laundry bin, or you know, just like go do something quick. You don't have to like kind of have those extra steps in those moments. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really happy with it. I think I would use it a lot. So that's why I'm really looking for that feedback, and hopefully maybe some of your fans. But,
Yeah, there's definitely someone I want to introduce you to. We'll talk that
that'd
more
be really cool.
after the show. Because it looks like a very simple and clean sort of
It's
design.
very simple, very straightforward. It's only 7 parts, like total, right? And like this is, it's like really compactable, and it just, I feel like it's just very straightforward. So there's definitely some things we can tweak here and there, like always improve, but at the same time, I think it can help people the way it is now.
Fuck yeah. Oh, did you ever hear the book Grit?
Yeah. Grit?
No.
No.
This book, a psychologist, I think, Angela Duckworth, and she was studying what makes people succeed in difficult fields, whether that is West Point, whether that is becoming a professional dancer and musician, a high-level doctor, any field that was very difficult. And is it natural talent? Is it the amount of money you have that can help you get started? What are the key factors? And she found in her studies that the consistent factor that was the most important in having people succeed is grit. And she defined grit as having this, the example to describe it, which is one of the reasons I asked you this question earlier, is if you have to go pee in the middle of the night and you wake up, are you thinking about this thing in that small period of time while you're awake? Is it this thing that you love, that you're constantly focused on, that you're willing to push through struggle and difficulty through, that it almost consumes you, but in a beautiful way, like this deep, deep passion? She found that was, in her studies, the most consistent factor for success.
Yeah. I think it's been really easy to get passionate about this problem. I empathize with the way that like people describe their problem. I think that's been the biggest thing, is like being able to empathize. As like an engineer, it's not so much like I can make the coolest technology ever, you know, like I could design some like sound box or something, but it wouldn't like give, or like a car, you know, like I
wouldn't feel the purpose behind it.
Yeah, like it doesn't mean as much to me. As like I know this will have that meaning for me when I give this to like that 8-year-old kid and he's able to go down the water slide, like that kind of meaning, you know, for me. Or like giving this to someone, they take a shower every day and they like are feeling more confident about themselves and more empowered to like go about their lives. Like that kind of thing gives me way more energy to get out of bed in the morning than like going and making some car that drives faster than the other ones.
Dude,
you know?
This is making me think of something that is a very strange part of life that I am starting to notice more lately, that all those years of pain, in a weird way, seem to have qualified you to be the person who is making this now. Like all those years of, like, while you were in it, in that pain in the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if you would give anything just about to end it.
Yeah, I used to want to
pain.
die. I used to say, like, I remember telling my dad one time, like, I want to die. Like, this pain is not worth it. There used to be these like Herxheimer reactions. So it's like a time when like the line would have a mass die off in your body. And I was just like, want to kill myself. Like that was like how bad it was. But like going through that, you know, that's like pain, right? Like I've experienced that, and now I no longer have that pain, right? But I understand it. So I can empathize with someone that's going through that pain, that like loses a limb. You know, that's not like an easy thing to go through. It's very physically obvious, like right, like whereas like with Lyme disease, you couldn't tell like I had this pain. You know, like if you looked at me and like maybe I looked kind of depressed or something, but like you wouldn't know what's going on inside. Like you didn't have to know. With like a loss of limb, you know, that's like it's something that doesn't compare. And like I'm able to physically kind of solve that problem. It's like, and I have like the skill set. I've done the engineering to do it, you know, like I physically can do it, and like have the ideas, and the empathy, I think, though, is the most important thing. Cause like, why solve a problem that's not worth solving? And like I have the technological mindset to like solve whatever problem it is. But I'm only interested in it if it's going to change people's lives. And that's, I think like I do agree. I'm uniquely, like I'm
Qualified
very
to care.
unique. It's a very unique position. But I'm qualified to care. I actually really like think my strongest asset is my empathy, and my ability to empathize with people and then create a solution that works to solve their problem.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
such a strange way to view suffering and pain that people are going through at some point in your life. Like, you don't know if you stick with it and keep going, that some point, years down the line, this could be one of the drivers for you then
Well, it
creating
should.
a beautiful
Honestly,
thing.
like some of the most inspiring people went through the worst thing ever, and then they went and solved that, so nobody else would have to. You know, like honestly, like I think people look at me like I'm not an amputee, so they're like, "Well, why do you want to solve this? Like, why do you care?" Like that's like a question I actually get a lot. Like, you're not an amputee. Why are you making prosthetic legs for amputees? Like, but it's not something like I have to be an amputee to make this, you know? Like all I have to do is care. That's actually all I have to do is care enough to do it, you know? And so I care. That's like my way of saying like I care. I want to solve this problem. I want to help people like fix this because I actually believe it is a problem. It's very obvious to me that if you're standing in a wet, soapy, slippery environment like a shower, that it's hard. Like, and if it's on one leg, like of course it's hard, you know? So like if I can make that problem easier with some technology, and like all I have to do is design the technology and then figure out how to manufacture the technology and then figure out how to market it and get it in the hands of people. And like those are the things that I have to do. And I have the ability and I can make something that solves a problem with that technology, then like, yes, I am going to make the technology and make it available. Like I'll make it a reality. That's basically, I like definitely like through my education have the power to take an idea and turn it into reality. Like clearly it's right here, you know, like this was my idea. First started in my head as just like intellectual, but now it's like real physical
Actualized.
thing, something you can have, hold in your hand and help you have more mobility. And if I have that power, then I owe it to the world to kind of give it out and like provide it. So I think finding like what's my superpower, for me is the empathy and the kind of ability to empathize with a problem and solve that problem. So that's my superpower, and I guess in a way. And then like I think everybody has that. They just need to look inside themselves, like what's their story, what's their pain like obviously you are like doing that too, you know? It's the same thing. Like you had this incident and now you're living your life like in a way to kind of reflect that. I don't know. I think it's hard to compare people's stories, but stories are like I had this quote. It's from my teacher. He said, "Stories are the blood of religion and the soul of humanity." And that's like really true. If you think about things like the Bible is just a bunch of stories about how people like it's just stories, right? About like, even if you take out the religion like aspects of it, like all of this life is stories. Like the way we live our lives every day is just us telling our stories through our actions. And like even us like right now just conversing, like everything, the way our brains program things is like through stories. So I think like my story and my pain that I went through is just what's motivating me now to like act and live my life. Yeah, it's a story. Yeah.
What
That's
is a
kind of the way
story?
it is, like storytelling. Yeah.
Mm. And okay, now you're having me want to try and understand the nature of a story. A story, meaning. Oh, let's see. When I ask myself what is a story, it's meaningful parts of life, right? So inherent in a story, in a good story, right? It's
Right.
cutting down the information to the bare bones of what's important. You don't want to hear in a story. As the psychologist Jordan Peterson has a funny example. You don't want to hear a story about someone wakes up. I blinked 15 times. I looked at the wall. It was gray.
Right.
Like, you want to slap me after like
Right.
20 seconds of that sort of
Right. And
explanation of all irrelevant
if you think
information.
about like a character plot in a story, like you want to have them go through that down so they can come over. And I've kind of gone through that down, so now I feel like I have only up to go. Like it can't get worse than like what it used to be. And even if it did, like at least I've understood how I can overcome that before. So like fighting 12 years of pain with Lyme disease, like if the hardest thing I have to do now is figure out how to get like a product manufactured and like go through like the FDA and like get patents and like figure out all the entrepreneurship stuff or like whatever that job is, like I can get through that. You know, it's not like I haven't done it before kind of thing. Like, yeah, that's I guess the way it is.
Oh, here's a weird question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to be happy in a way where you can be happy through almost any circumstance? You can have the up without having the down, because I feel like a lot of stories I've heard, there's almost the necessity for a point of down where you're in misery and suffering. And I've been wondering more lately, largely inspired, I think, by some Sadhguru teachings and things along those lines. Is it all possible to kind of internally, when it comes to feeling, I'll say, to simplify it, have just up? And even if there are problems and things to solve, you're not internally at a point of down. You can blissfully, gracefully endure through the challenges and hardships of life without personally hitting a emotional state of low. Like, I wonder if that's possible.
I think the like happiness or sadness, that's more like we all have like happy days and like sad days. I do think that it's like something we can choose how we perceive the world. Like, you can have a bad day, you know, and everyone has bad days. But you can use that as a lesson and say, okay, so today I didn't get everything done that I wanted to. Today I had some guilt. I didn't maybe I didn't show up for this thing that I wanted to do, or I had said I was going to do this and I didn't, you know, or I wish I had done this instead, you know. But some days are great. You wake up, you have a whole list of things you have to get done. You do every single thing on the list. You do even more than you expected. Maybe you had a connection with someone that really triggered something great. It was a great day. And I think some days, like, that's like the way you look at it. Just I think if you can have a life that's consistent and even more, not like thinking like this is good or bad, but this is a day, and not thinking like, oh, this was a great day, this was a sad day. Just thinking more, no feelings, actually. Like, I do a lot of meditation. That's kind of the thing I've found is overall I feel better when I'm not like getting super emotional about certain things. Like if there was an error or a problem, then it's like, okay, well, how can I learn from this? Kind of like an empty mind, empty like heaven, empty earth, like that, and just empty your body, just you and like your thoughts, not so much like your emotional, this is good, this is bad. I do think like life has those ups and downs, so going through the downs helps you to go through other downs, and going through ups is like always great, right? But I think the more level we can be and like maintaining that feeling and that way of looking at the world, that's the best if we can get to there. But I know it's hard. It's harder to just say like that. It's something more you have to kind of go through. And
I wonder if that's largely an engineering problem, just a problem of not understanding the engineering of our human nature, of not being able to understand, like, oh, okay, this wrench is or this screw is a little loose. I just need to tighten it. And the equivalent would be, oh, I'm feeling very depressed or low energy today. for this clear reason, I understand, and I know now how to tighten the screw. But if you just don't have a screwdriver, you don't know how screws work,
Yeah.
you'll just look at it like, well, I guess some days I just feel like shit, and that's life. But I wonder sometimes, man, like if that's just an engineering problem.
Well, I think there's tools, right? Like there's technologies. Like I found this Qigong. It really helps me. When there's like, even I'll give a really simple example. Say you're a woman, right? You have PMS symptoms.
Mhm.
There's a breathing exercise we teach in the Qigong class, where you do the Qigong, the breathing exercise, lower stomach breathing, helps with the cramps and the pain. So like that brings in the air, brings in energy, helps relieve some of the pain. So that's like a tool. Like you can learn, oh, I do this tool. Like that's knowledge. You can gain the knowledge that can help you. But there's other ways like coping. Maybe like there's another technology, like a physical aid, mobility aid. You can have that prosthetic leg helps you walk around all day. Think about 150 years ago, maybe they didn't have a robotic knee, right? You can put on your leg and make you walk around, have a better life. Like, so like as humans, I do think we're like improving certain things like technologies, and having access to those technologies is just what defines like well-being in some ways. Is like in terms of disability, like the only difference between having a disability and having ability is the technology you have access to on some levels. So that's actually something that's kind of a defining belief I have just from my experience with pain, and how when I like solved that pain with a energy technology, then my mental problems went away, my physical problems. So I just hold that to be true. Like whenever I come across a problem or a blockage, I have to find a way to get through that. So I can like continue, and my life can open up to new experiences and new opportunities. Yeah, I know we're talking kind of in bigger words. We got into the deeper
Oh, that's
part
fine.
of it.
Those are some of the waters I like delving into most, I must admit.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. Here's something I'm curious about. And if you're getting chilly by
No, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom in a minute, but let's keep going.
No, you gotta go to the bathroom.
No.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. Is there anybody you admire? Or maybe a collection of people you admire, or maybe specifically traits about people you've admired? Feel free to answer any of those questions or all.
Yeah. Easy. My grandma. My grandma came to this country. She is from Puerto Rico.
Oh, cool.
When
I'm
she
also half Puerto Rican.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's me too. Yeah. So when she was 19 years old, she came to she came from Puerto Rico to the United States and spoke no English at all, and she learned how to kind of live in this country. She ended up she met my grandfather. She ran 2 nursing homes here in the United States. Like totally like took care of people. Her whole life has been like all about helping, and she like really showed me kind of those values. So that's someone I've always looked up to. And then I definitely am inspired everywhere I go. Like I everything I look at, like how I just think about it and how can I use it to help me with liquid limbs right now. Like every YouTube video I watch or person I talk to, it's just a connection, and I find great like value in all of those connections, and like even like our conversation, like this is inspiring for me, just like hear you and your story. Yeah,
I'm happy to, dude. Oh, here's a kind of fucked up but question, but I'll ask it anyway. If for some reason you couldn't do liquid limbs anymore, like an overnight, it's just gone.
Yeah.
What do you think you do with your life?
That's a good question. I think right now, like let's just say, I don't know, say whatever reason liquid limbs is off the table. I don't see myself working as like an engineer at like a firm for someone else. I feel like I have so many different ideas that I could do a lot of different things.
Next idea.
I think if like liquid limbs disappeared right now, I'd really always wanted to be in the military. Something you had said you actually wanted to do, I related to that. And I right now feel like it's my duty to do liquid limbs and make it as big as possible. But if it disappeared overnight, I would join the military just because I feel like my window on that is closing as well, in terms of my age and everything. And right now just feels like the time when I could serve the country. I feel like I am serving the country in a way with this, just by the military veterans I'll be able to help, and the people in the country that will help, especially in wartime situations. Like even right now in Ukraine, there's war going on, and people are losing limbs. Can use this device, and same with our military. But if that all went away, I would probably enlist in the military right now. I have a big military family. All my cousins and just my uncles and grandparents.
Your haircut was a bit of a giveaway.
It's a big part of like me and my feeling I give value to my country. I feel like I owe it kind of for service. I always wanted to do that, and I am happy I'm able to give back in this way. But that would be an option, at least for a couple of years. I'd really want to serve the country.
So you would feel I have a sort of like patriotic duty?
Yeah.
I have to admit, for me, it was much more maybe an idealized view of combat. I just really wanted to be in battle. That was for me.
No, I think it is. I would just feel better about myself. I think if I served the country, I think it would give me some real discipline. That's something I may be lacking. I'm trying to be really hard on myself as like CEO of Liquid Limbs. I feel I need to be CEO of myself first in order to be CEO of the company. And so I'm really trying to work on my discipline and I want to get up at 5 a.m. every day and do everything I need to do, so like for myself, so that I can take care of the company. And that's something I think if I had that military experience, I would be able to do even more so. But I'm kind of trying to implement it on myself without that kind of background. But it is something I think could really take me into the person that I'm meant to be also more. But there's so many things. I love to spend more time doing Qigong treatments and teaching other people about Qigong, because I think it's a really powerful practice I've found. I'd definitely be designing, I'm still the mechanical engineer, solutions to problems. So I'd still be finding hard problems to solve and ones that mean a lot and solving them. Maybe if it wasn't Liquid Limbs, it wouldn't be for people with limb loss, although that's something I've really found. But definitely people with disabilities that I'm able to empathize with and solving those problems. So that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that.
Oh, man, leadership. What do you think it takes to be a good CEO, especially of yourself?
To be a good CEO, you need to kind of be able to put things above yourself also. So like for this, like I have to kind of put this in front of my own relationships, my own self sometimes. Like that's just the way it has to be in order to be like a successful company.
What would be an example?
So like if I have like to do some video shoot with this, I shouldn't be like on the phone with my girlfriend, or like I shouldn't be on like social media, or I shouldn't be kind of like doing something for myself. I should be focused on this. That's part of how I feel about it. Like everything should kind of go towards this, but there are things that like in order to be CEO of that, you need to be exercising, you need to be sleeping, you need to be like, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you can't just wake up and like think I'm gonna go from 5 a.m. till like tomorrow 5 a.m. and like treat this like a school thing, like a project or assignment.
Like an all-nighter.
This is like every day. You need to wake up, show up, have those meetings, do the work, be the CEO. Yeah, it's kind of like a commitment to an ideal, like a mission. So like you said, you have your mission. Our mission is like to create a world where people with limb loss have the opportunity to obtain wellness. And so that just comes from my greater viewpoint of the world, that everyone should have the opportunity to obtain wellness. And so that's been my motto kind of for this, like fighting to redefine mobility and helping people to kind of obtain that wellness through these type of devices. Right now, that's been the push, and there's so many different ways I want to kind of go about it. But I think sticking to that vision, sticking to that mission, being really clear on what that is, understanding first your stories, how you are a person, like what motivates you, and then aligning that with your company's mission and your vision and values. That's the only way. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Oh. Okay, do you have to pee?
Dude, I really, really have to pee. So maybe let's wrap it up, but Alex, this was amazing podcast. Like, I feel like there's so many areas like we should do this again and get into some of the other things, but I have to go to the bathroom. Thank you,
Thank
Alex.
you, James.
Thank you so much, man.
Liquid limbs.
Liquid limbs out. Thank you so much,
Fuck yeah.
Alex.
Ciao.
Wow.